Turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Greetings, inhabitants of Earth 616. We are here to record a special episode of on last week's episode. Don't tell D I'm recording without her. She had way too many grapefruit white claws for Mother's Day, so I
Mm.
had to bring in a special guest, a familiar face. You might remember him. Ryan, how's it going?
I've been pretty good. I have recently converted to the dark side, and I now have an iPhone. So I'm
Oh
trying to figure
no.
out. I'm trying to figure out what that life is like. Yeah, I caved into the peer pressure because literally everybody in my family, including the ones I haven't really been talking to lately, have iPhones now, and so I'm just like I'm left out. So hey, I got to FaceTime people, and Google Duo wasn't working. No, so honest truth is, I had a Pixel 4a. I know this isn't a tech show, but every Pixel I've had, something happens to it to where like it's the most random. Why does this not work? Sort of thing. So like first it was like the speaker function. If I tried to put you on speaker, you can't hear me on that phone.
hmm
And then like the previous one I had, the Pixel 2, it was like the battery started winding down like crazy. Like I could be doing nothing and go from like 100 to 60. And when I mean nothing, I mean like literally nothing, phone in my pocket. Um, and then yeah, some other stuff started happening where I was just like, yeah, let me just get the phone. Let me just get the phone. I'll pay the bill. It's whatever. Let's just do it. You know, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I see. I'm the last man standing on Android planet. I gotta hold it down.
I'm
But
rooting for you.
I gotta stick it out. But like Ryan said, this isn't the tech podcast. We are here to discuss Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Few quick notes. Former, I wouldn't say former director of the previous movie, Scott Derrickson, stepped aside to be the producer of this film. Sam Raimi stepped in. You might know him from the best Spider-Man trilogy, Evil Dead series. So yeah, that's Sam Raimi. It was written exclusively, which is weird because Marvel typically doesn't have just one sole writer on a movie, but it's written by Michael Waldron, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the showrunner for the Loki series. So
Hmm.
interesting choice there. We'll get into that a bit
You can
later.
tell, and we'll get to that. Yeah, sorry.
Exactly.
You can
We'll get
tell.
into that a bit later, but you could definitely tell. So, as we always do with these type of things, let's just start general impressions. Ryan, I'll give you the floor. Just let me know what you think about it.
So I am not the I'm sorry, black tuxedo, black tie film critic that Ron and Charles and Lee are. I'm also not a huge I wasn't into the comics, so I wasn't a comic book person. So my opinion is prefaced with that. I do understand that people who have a certain expectation because they grew up with these stories may feel a certain way when they don't see them go one for one or within their expectations. So I totally understand that. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I went and saw it with my wife and my brother. Um, and came out of it and was like, I did not waste 2.5 hours. I had a good time with it. Yes, it got corny. Yes, it got cheesy, but it was fun. And I have my gripes about Phase Four thus so far, and mainly my gripe is that Eternals exists. But you know, I really did enjoy. I enjoyed this movie, and I haven't hated a movie in this phase except for Eternals. So to me, I feel like it's a great film. Is it a masterpiece? No. Is it going to be one of the linchpins of the MCU moving forward? No. This was clearly a vehicle to allow a bigger story that I'm sure we will talk about here towards the end of the podcast. That again, I'm not a comic reader, so I didn't read these, but I know enough from watching YouTube and different breakdown videos of where this is going within the MCU. And it's just a matter of what they want to do with it. So from that standpoint, yeah, I thought it was fun.
All right. See, I came equipped with my retort because I
Hmm.
feel like I have to give it first. Because I mean, people know like I do run and like I guess the film theory circles. I do like to break down film,
Hmm.
the techniques, yada yada yada. But my philosophy about film, and I'll be brief with this, but my philosophy about any film is that any film has an inherent like mission statement. Like it lets you know what it's trying to do. So therefore, I like to use this analogy. Like when I eat steak, I like to eat like the top cut of steak. Like it has to be the best of the best. But when I want a slice of pizza, like a $1 greasy slice of New York style pizza would do. And that's what Marvel is. And not to say that in like a derogatory way, but it just hits those pleasure centers and I get what I get from it. And I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I do expect certain things from like just a movie, like certain baseline things, and I'll get more into that later. So, long story short, um, I didn't enjoy this film. I don't think it's like the worst Marvel film I've ever seen, like not by a long shot, but I didn't enjoy it. But I'll get more into that later because I want to talk about what I did like, and I'll let you go first since I feel like you'll have more to say than I will.
No, I mean, because I don't know. I think especially when we go beat by beat story wise, I'll be able to remember more stuff. But honestly, which okay, let me go ahead and say this. If you're listening to this, this is spoilers abound. So
Oh yeah,
if you
yes,
haven't
yes,
figured it
yes.
out yet, it's spoilers abound. If you haven't seen it yet, stop right here. But I enjoyed the horror elements of the film.
Mm,
I'm not a horror. I usually don't bother with horror because I think that it can often be a cheesy drama that is just done for cheap scares and stuff like that. But incorporating that into a superhero film without it going all the way full Brightburn, I think was done very well. I think Sam
mm,
Raimi definitely made his imprint on what he was doing here. There's a particular scene where it's just like, mwah, like this is perfect. It's the tunnel scene. It's the scene when she's chasing them through after she's murdered everybody in the Illuminati, and she's
mm.
chasing them through the tunnels. um and she is hobbling. She looks like a monster. She looks like a witch, an evil witch chasing after her victims. Yeah, there's a cheap jump scare in there when she like pops out the side instead of bursting through the door. But I feel like, because at first, while that whole moment I was like, why the hell are y'all standing there, it
Mm,
made sense once I realized what he was listening for, which was the water, and realizing that they're under the more under a weaker part of the tunnel where the river can come through. So I feel like that element I really enjoyed. I feel like, again, this is a vehicle for them to open up the multiverse even further, eventually lead to Secret Wars. I know I've seen some theories thrown around where I'm doing Doom right now. It's a Kang version of kind of stuff, like implementing Kang into it, but we'll see. We know Fantastic Four is on the way. We know all those characters will be introduced soon. It's just a matter of if they're going to shoehorn them in now before they get to what would be Avengers 5 and 6. I also enjoyed, again, it got corny at times, but I really enjoyed how the story within the world made sense. Are there some plot holes? Yes. Yes. But within the world itself, within the way that these characters solved their problems, I felt like it was believable. The way at the very end, Doctor Strange sort of figures out what needs to be said. You've got Wong, which in that moment felt a little weird that Wong was the one saying like, "Yo, you gotta take her
yeah.
power." It was anti Wong and just was like, "Hey, this is plot device for you, for Strange to figure it out." But I feel like they could have done that sequence without Wong saying that. It could have been Strange sort of having the realization of what he needs to do without words, coming over to America, her saying, "You need to take my powers, don't you?" And then him saying, "No, this is what you need to do." I feel like it would have delivered that scene a little bit better. But I like how the whole thing was solved. I like how America finally figures out her powers, realizes that she still can't beat her physically. So what is the best thing that I can do? Giving her what she wants,
Mm,
which then gives the whole, Billy and Tommy essentially defeat Wanda by making her realize that
mhm.
she's a monster. So yeah, I feel like, again, the whole thing, yeah, there's some places where it kind of gets a little sketch, but I enjoyed it. I felt like it was a little fun ride, and if you don't take it too seriously, it's something that you can have a lot of fun and enjoy. And again, it's not going to be the linchpin. in phase 4. It's, hey, here's a quick story we need to tell because we need to kind of move Doctor Strange over here. We need to bring Clea in. We need to move him to, kind of out of this picture. I will say, since I know you're going to be mainly be the negative one, I'll be negative here. What the hell are they going to do with Mordo? Because
Oh my!
because
See,
because
I
he was
was,
because
I
he was
was
set up. He was set up at the end of Doctor Strange 1 to be the guy of Doctor Strange 2, or at least some kind of factor. And he kind of gets this Illuminati thing, which is cool. Maybe, you can still use him in Doctor Strange 3. But by then it's kind of like the story beat is gone. Like we
right.
had Doctor, and then we got 2, and then now you're gonna bring back Mordo. No, kind of feel like I feel like that ship has sailed. The bigger.
Yeah, so we'll put this in the pocket. Remind me to come
Okay.
around to this because that's actually one of like the biggest things I guess I have to say about Marvel at large, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, it like that was, and it's crazy that I'm leaving a Doctor Strange movie, and my first thought is like, what are you gonna do with Baron Mordo? But yeah, I'll get to that later because like it bugs me to no end. So I actually do have some good things to say about this movie. I know contrary to what many of you believe, but Marvel figured out like a sweet spot a long time ago, and I think it started with the Winter Soldier. So they were like, we can take this superhero story and we can mix in genre with it. So the Winter Soldier is an espionage movie in the MCU. Um, Much like Guardians of the Galaxy is a space opera set in the MCU. So we could center these stories in our universe but add in like different genres. So, like you
Mhm.
said, this is a horror, and Sam Raimi is the perfect person for it because yeah, there were those little scenes where so I would say Earth 616 Wanda meets other Wanda, and like she's like hiding behind the stairs and the camera gets shaky. Like
Mhm.
that's the stuff that Sam Raimi can bring to you. So um I do think out of most of the MCU movies, just from I guess a visual storytelling standpoint, the Doctor Strange movies have been the most ambitious thus far. Especially the first Doctor Strange movie, sure was biting on Inception a little bit, but I do think it dared to be ambitious, and
Mhm.
I do think some Marvel movies sometimes like hold their punches, but with this series, it's at least daring to be ambitious, and this one, continued that trend. Like it did some things where you typically won't see in a Marvel movie. So I do appreciate the fact that they brought in this director and they're like, hey, play with your toys, do what you want to do, put your imprint on this. That also, I'm going to go first on this. That also segues to what I don't like about it, which kind of ties to that other point. Marvel as a whole tends to have like continuity issues. You could tell like the story was passed off from one person to another, and you could tell like there's like stylistic and tonal changes. And there were times in this film where basically Sam Raimi's style was at battle with the typical Marvel movie, like what we come to know and expect from the typical Marvel movie.
Mhm.
And just watching this film, I think it's like poorly paced. And I think I could say that because I know for sure this was meant to be a 3 hour film. This was meant to be a three
Mhm.
hour film, but I could tell
Mhm.
that it was chopped down so much that a lot of the cool things that Sam Raimi would have done were like chopped out, and therefore it has like this weird imbalance. Did you pick up on that any?
Yeah, there's like a part. So like it starts off very quick,
Hmm.
and then it kind of like slows down in the middle, and then it sort of meanders about until boom, we're at the end.
Right.
And you could feel each coming. So like when we're getting to the climax, we're at the climax, but it still feels like, oh wow, we could have done a little bit more here. Like
Mm,
from the get go, I part of me understands why they revealed Wanda right away as the villain,
mm,
right? Like, we're not going to sit up here and tease this for an hour. Let's go ahead and get into it because there's more story to tell. And I do like the way that they set it up, right? Where she kind of outs herself,
mm,
shortly in the conversation, and so from there is where I feel like it starts to kind of it's like, okay, boom, we figured it out. And now, oh, boom, all of a sudden, we've got her attacking Carmitage. And okay, we're moving forward. Like the whole, what was her name? What was the sorcerer's name? The black one with the short hair. Was it Sam? Sarah? Sarah,
I
I think was her name.
think it was Sarah. Yeah.
We don't get enough time to understand why we should care that she sacrificed herself,
Mhm.
other than she has trained under Wong. And, like we could have spent some time before we get to the Wanda reveal developing some of these people at the Carmitage, right?
Mhm.
Because we're just there and we're supposed to kind of care about them. No, I don't need 30, 40 minutes of exposition about why these people are important, but some time with them before Wanda shows up and just starts obliterating the place gives more weight to the sacrifices that some of these people make.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where I had my first hang up. Um, and I felt like it gave them an excuse to do really cool things with Wanda, the mirror dimension thing, the snatching people through puddles of water, the ring sort of creepy
Yeah.
thing was a little odd and just kind of happened. And so again, we kind of moved through these story beats quickly to set up Wanda's ability to dream walk. For her to have the seance and have the that whole process, which I get she was after. But again, that whole little part of the film, which was like minutes, the first 45 minutes,
Mhm.
we could have taken another 30 with that and done something else
Mhm.
and sort of extended it a little bit. And so that's kind of that's my gripe as far as pacing is concerned. Because from there we pick up, we get moving. They're going across the dimensions. The memory thing was kind of shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Again, there's a
Yeah.
better way you can do that. There's a better way we can reveal these stories about each other. It just kind of that whole part just kind of felt a little okay, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Right.
Because by the time we get to the Illuminati, now we're back at pickup. But
Mhm.
that whole little thing right there, it's like we could have done a little bit more with that. Move some things out of here and put some of that padding over here.
Yeah, and also what I want to say is I guess aside from focusing on just like the technical aspect of the film, like I want to focus on the story beats. To me, the of course the name of this film is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but um for my expectations and what I wanted from this, it felt kind of like a smaller story. Like it felt really small in comparison to what I was expecting. Um and out of curiosity, I'm going to ask you this, and if you get the answer right, that kind of proves my point. What was your favorite part of the film?
Let's see. I think my favorite part is probably going to be after the Illuminati,
Mhm.
when we are doing everything from kind of the discovery of how to solve the problem.
Mhm.
It's the tunnel scene, it's the Book of Vishanti getting destroyed, the star, the little itty bitty star kind of giving the indication of what he
Uh,
needs to do, and then sort of him solving the problem of okay, like let's get to this dimension like that to the end to me is my favorite part. Minus the music battle. That shit was weird.
yeah.
But
Oh my god, I forgot all about that
it
to
went
this
like
moment.
30, it went like 30 or 40 seconds too long.
It
It could have
went
been
way
like
too long.
it went way too long. And so I feel like that is the best part to me. The other parts were good. I know a lot of people are probably gonna say the whole Illuminati sequence because of the fan
Okay,
service.
because
But for me, like it was cool. It was shocking. I knew
yeah,
they were going to die. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect somebody's skull to get blown out. I didn't expect Captain Carter gets chopped in half. Um, Maria Rambo got the easiest death out of all of them, the least
mhm.
gruesome. Mr. Fantastic, John Krasinski is now spaghetti. Like, I understand that that's probably some people's favorite part. But for me, it's kind of the whole sequence afterward. It's Charles buying time and them being able to kind of get to the conclusion.
Okay. Well, either way, you chose the right answer because that's like my favorite part. But
Mm,
what I was getting at, I feel like most people like the Illuminati part, and I say that to say this. Marvel has reached like peak Easter egg culture.
mhm,
So with these movies, it's like nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, boom, fan service. Nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens, boom, fan service.
mm.
And it's like first there's no build up to these moments. Like the Illuminati, I feel like we like kind of how you alluded to, like things happen quickly. We rush to get there. Then after that, the coolest reveals of the movie are are like neutralized because they're all killed. So yeah, like we're like at peak Easter egg culture, and basically like I guess that leads to my larger problem of this film. Like I know Marvel's place in like pop culture. It's basically these interconnected stories. It's pretty much like episodic filmmaking. Like
Mm.
each one of these films are just episodes in a longer series in a longer phase. But with putting that as a context, I feel like Doctor Strange really told me nothing. And I know you might disagree because I feel
Well,
like you
no,
have your
no,
things of
because
what's come.
I'll jump in here because I heard a comment. I can't think if it was New Rock Stars or Screen Crusher, whoever I was watching, but they made a point that really I had thought about but couldn't really vocalize, which was this does in some ways feel like WandaVision episode. Instead of it being a standalone film, it feels like you could have taken this and put it at the end of WandaVision,
Mhm.
and we don't really lose anything.
Right.
And so I agree with you in that sense. The scale, it's never really it's never really explained why. Like we know why Wanda is dangerous, but why is it dangerous for her to get this power? Like it's mentioned once, right?
Mhm.
Like, well then, nobody can stop her. She can rule all of the world. And it's like, I need you to give me more than that.
Because
What
let me interject here because okay, so America isn't, if I'm not mistaken, America Chavez isn't put in danger if her powers are taken away from her, correct?
she
Like she won't die or anything, will
she
she?
will die.
Okay, never
That was the
mind.
whole
Okay.
thing with Defender
Okay,
to begin
what
with,
that crushes
is
my
that
theory then
he was
because Wanda made it clear, like, hey, I just want these powers. I want to go see my kids, and I'm gonna leave everybody else alone.
but that was kind of the conflict, is that by taking her power, she kills her.
Yeah. Well,
And
okay, that makes sense
it
now.
leads into the larger thing of Wanda's willing to kill as many people as possible to get these kids back who aren't hers. So
Mm,
that's the other thing that she has to wrestle with, which, I'm not against it being a movie that, even though it's Doctor Strange's movie, it's also Wanda's film. It's also a way for us to kind of make our way into the lone Scarlet Witch film if we get there. Um, and I don't know if Scarlet Witch ever gets her own film, just because the way she is in the
mhm.
MCU, she's not really set up in that manner to
Right.
where she's going to be top billing. It's going to have to be her and somebody else. So whether you use her as a way to bring in X-Men, which we've long talked about, me, you, and AJ, if you set her up as a way to bring in the X-Men and that's how you handle her film, that's one thing. But it feels like there's more being set up with her.
Mm.
We're not done with her, but she's never going to be top billing. And I think the other side of that coin is she's too powerful. You can't put her
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't put her in the Avengers lineup because, again, like Thanos was ready to screw everybody over to get out of her hold. And
Rain hellfire.
rain hellfire. He was like, but sir, niggas might die. He was like,
Like, hey.
niggas die every day, B. But it ain't finna be me. So it's like, I question those things, and I do see how that can kind of cause a little bit of confusion. And you can also tell how the pandemic affected this,
Mhm.
in terms of the order, the way they wanted to tell the story, because I think this was supposed to be before No Way Home, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
had a much earlier release date. Yeah.
This is supposed to be
Mhm.
No Way Home, and we kind of get, and that was sort of I know I never talked about it, but that was sort of my gripe with No Way Home, is the Doctor Strange element is kind of shoehorned in, because we gotta put it in there now. And I feel like that part could have been written better. I feel like it could have been done
Mhm.
a little bit better. And I feel like it also floats here, is that we get a Spider-Man reference like 10 minutes in. But like, it was one of those things that it's not a big deal, but it's obviously that they have to put it in there now, because now the order
Right.
says that, so canonically, I feel like, again, this is going to be, what's a way I can put this, as a standalone film in comparison to the first three phases. This is going to be like Ant-Man 2. It it
Mm.
it There's elements from this that we
Ooh.
can use. There's elements from this that we can use moving forward if we need to, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, and it's wild that you say that because I have said two things about Ant-Man 2. First, it works better as an adventure movie, like Journey to the Center of the Earth without a villain. And second
Mhm.
thing, like let's say there's no Ant-Man movie altogether. Imagine opening Endgame with Ant-Man's mid-credit scene. Like where like he's stuck in the quantum realm and he comes out and he's like, where the hell is everybody? Like
Mhm.
that's and I understand the Clint Code opening because it lends to the story better. Like this is a
Mhm.
very Hawkeye centric story, but that would have been cool too. But yeah, so let's get into like I guess the future implications, like where we're going, because another gripe I got to get off. One thing that Marvel will do as well is they will crush their own stakes, and I say that to get into where I think we're going next. So I think the other one that we viewed is going to be our Scarlet Witch going forward because she's the mother of the twins, and the twins are going to be brought into Young Avengers. And I think she saw the worst version of herself, and she was like, "I'm not going to be that, so now I'm going to be good." But at the same time, the one that we know, I kind of feel like from I'm not gonna say she deserves better as like a person because she did horrible things, but I think as a character, like she was written poorly and she deserved more. But basically, I think that the Wanda that we saw protecting her two kids is the Wanda that we're gonna get. How do you feel about that?
I feel that because I feel like there's a great way that they can set her up to come to this universe with the boys.
Mhm.
And that's because nobody in the what is that, 838?
Yeah,
Nobody in
yeah,
838 knows she was possessed. The only people that knew are dead.
mhm.
So now,
Yeah,
so now, who's
right,
gonna answer for this, right? Like,
right.
yo, you just flew off in the night and came in and like killed the most powerful team on the planet. So
Mhm.
obviously, there's going to be some repercussions. Who's
Uh-huh.
protecting that Earth now? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of follow up questions that you can have because now you got the entire Richards family coming after you. You've
Mhm.
got uh shoot, the other X-Men who will be coming
Mhm.
after you because they exist, we know, in this universe. So I feel like there's a way for them to just take this Wanda and say, we're going to leave everything we know behind because the implication is also that Wanda and the boys are kind of separate. Like, if you
Uh-huh.
think about it, there's no Vision in this universe.
No.
There's no Vision. So she probably just created the boys and that's the family she's got. And so she could just tape them and we finna go. Um, so I could very well see them using her to get over using 838 Wanda to get over into the 616 universe and go from there. I know I've also seen theories that people are like, "Oh, we're just going to jump to the 838 universe," and I don't think that's going to happen. We've spent
Nah,
in
nah.
these characters, um, and so I really don't know because right now we're getting origin stories. Right, we got Shang Chi.
Mm,
We're gonna have kind of the conclusion to Thor's arc coming up
mm.
between Thor 4 and uh, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We're getting Ant-Man Quantum Mania, brother. Um, I
Quantumania,
can't
brother.
I can't hear that word without like hearing Hulk Hogan saying brother. Um, so that's kind of I feel like in the lineup in the upcoming lineup, that's the one I'm kind of wanting to see what they do because I'm
Uh,
ready to see Kang. I'm ready to see how Kang fits in the story. I'm ready for them to cut oh god, what's his name? Playing Kang for
oh,
AMD's
Jonathan,
Rush.
Jonathan, yeah, yeah,
Jonathan
Jonathan
Majors.
Majors,
I'm
Jonathan
ready for
Majors.
them. I'm ready for them to let him cut loose. Because
Mm.
he was so damn good
He
in
was so
Loki.
good.
He was so
Yeah,
good. And he just was exposition. That's all he was. And he was that
right.
good. I need
Like
him.
I told D, like everyone knows I hate exposition, but if you deliver exposition in that way, I'll take it. I'll take it.
It was perfect. It was perfect because I didn't hit me until after the episode and people were talking about it. Wait, that was a finale that was literally just exposition.
Exactly.
It was literally just exposition. Everybody was like, love it, do it again. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how this plays a role. I
Mm,
feel like it's going to be one of those things that we can go back and rewrite what happened here to fit any narrative we want to because it's so open ended. Strange is now corrupted by the dark hole. Incursions are
which
happening. Which what?
I like the whole being corrupted by the dark hold is definitely not something I knew I would have to ponder. I was like, okay, that's a interesting choice. I mean, it certainly opens up like the prospects of like very interesting stories because RP Defender Strange, but he's already dead. But there are like
Hey,
so
fuck that
many
nigga off.
different, yeah, there are so there are so many different iterations of like Doctor Strange that we can get into. So like this corrupted Dark Hole Doctor Strange is definitely one that's going to be interesting. So yeah, that was an
Mm.
interesting choice. I'm curious to see how it plays out.
But I understood why they did it, right? Because
Right,
you've
right,
you've
right.
set up the dark hole this entire time, which again, I don't like the idea of destroying it in every universe, and I feel like there's going to be a way for it to still be around somehow.
Mm,
Simply because, well, for one, if there's a Wundagore Mountain in this universe, then it's probably in every universe. So unless you
mm,
destroyed every single one of them, you still have the ability for Chthon to come in.
mm,
But what we're getting these sort of split arcs, right? So we've got our main timeline, which is going to be our Avengers and different Avengers folds. We talked about the Young Avengers coming.
mm.
We talked about our what do they call them? The sort of the street level ones. So we got Moon
Yeah.
Knight, we got Blade being set up. So we're gonna have these different splits, and so I feel like if you keep the idea of the Dark Hold there, and you keep the idea of sort of this Demon Legion, this kind of Chthon and all of them, sort of still out there, then it allows you to still do more with some of these characters who may not fit in the Avengers mold, right? Because it looks like Doctor Strange is not going to be around for Avengers 5. Um,
Mm.
he's off fighting incursions with Charlize Theron. Um, and it doesn't look like we're going to for a little bit. It looks like this is going to be a Shang-Chi. Don't know who else because I don't know what they're going to do with the Eternals. I don't know. And
Not much
do we
after.
do we have any more origin films coming? Like we're gonna have Shuri taking the Black Panther role.
Right.
We're gonna have God. What's up for the rest of Phase 4?
All right. So I know we're getting Miss Marvel
Right.
TV
Okay. We're getting
series,
them.
which are going to be a part of the Marvels because we now have so we now have so I don't think we've given her a name, but I think she's going to be
Kamala
technically
Khan.
no, yeah, coming to climb, but
Oh.
I was also talking about Photon. I
Oh.
think
Mother
she's
wife.
gonna
Yeah.
be
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I was going to say mine, but you know, we could fight afterwards for
It's all
her.
right. It's all right.
So yeah, we're going to have the Marvels, and I also Ironheart. I know that's coming too.
That's right. Okay. Because So we still have She Hulk. I am Groot.
Allegedly,
Allegedly, you're
the
right.
the streets say that process isn't going too well, but She Hulk is allegedly coming.
It's allegedly coming.
Yeah.
We've got I am Groot, which Secret Invasion is coming.
Hmm.
That's probably the next little linchpin thing.
Mm.
Ironheart, Armor Wars, X is going to be Disney. Agatha House of Harkness, which I know you're excited for. Um, Spider-Man the freshman year. So yeah, I mean, we're not really getting too many more origin things for the rest of Phase 4, and this is playing out through like 2024. Um, Maybe it's Phase 5 where we start to see more origin stories and things come together. So I don't know what the big come together team up thing is going to be unless we get a surprise Young Avengers film. Um, again, you have to do something to pull all these people together because they're across multiverses. We've got we have Patriot in our universe. We've got Kate Bishop, Kate Bishop in our universe. We've got who else is there? Those are the two because we only
Yeah.
have Wiccan and Speed. They're in another universe, and then we have Hulkling that well, She Hulk is messing all that up. So
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of feel like just based on what we have, I don't see what the next big team up film is going to be or when it's coming. Um, because yeah, all we have are rumors to Phase 5. We don't have anything really confirmed yet from what I'm understanding.
Yeah, so after our first iteration of the MCU, I was excited because we were promised these mini arcs. But now that I'm seeing at least the first phase of it, um, it worries me a bit because I feel like we're taking like lateral steps and we're not building towards anything. Because like at first I was like, okay, we have a fractured Avengers, like everyone is
Mhm.
spread out, like that can really create interesting storytelling. Who's the heir apparent to lead the Avengers? Is it I mean, naturally you would say Spider-Man, but then again, I mean, we have mega powered Carol Danvers, like who, but I don't see us getting there yet, and maybe I know we will in like phase 5, but um
Like, who are Avengers right now? Because we got Carol, we got
yeah, so
Falcon.
Carol, Falcon, Spider-Man.
I mean, are we counting? We're not counting Bucky. Like, we're not counting Bucky. We're not counting. Like, Doctor Strange is gone.
Yeah,
We don't know what's up with the Hulk right now.
right,
Although technically we have Hulk and we have Thor, but I don't know what we're doing with them right now.
right.
And so I agree with you and AJ about kind of where are we going right now. And maybe by the time we get to Quantumania, we can see it a little bit. And I feel like at a certain point in time, you've got to pull more of these Disney Plus
Mhm,
series into the fold.
mhm,
Because right now you really don't have much. As far as Phase 4 is concerned, I've been more entertained by the shows than the movies.
exactly.
For me, Shang-Chi stands clear and above everything except for Loki. But then as far as films, it's like Doctor Strange is second, and then it's Spider-Man, and then
Yeah.
everything else is just there.
I knew I had a hot take for you. I knew I had a hot take for you.
What's
So,
that?
um I actually like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness more than Spider-Man No Way Home, which is wild to say because as I was watching Spider-Man No Way Home, I was like, this movie is stupid. And it pains me to say that, but I was like, this movie is stupid.
I won't say that it's stupid. What I'll say is that that one, okay, this and Doctor Strange are on opposite ends of the fan service spectrum. It
Yes,
feels like No Way Home was written around the idea of how can we bring Toby and Andrew back? What plot can we
exactly.
make to bring them back? Whereas Doctor
Exactly.
Strange 2 was like, we're gonna give you this Easter egg, but then we're gonna get them out the way because they don't really play an important part of the story that we want to tell. Right?
Mhm.
We're gonna do this because this is cool. And Sir Patrick Stewart is right there. And if I can bring him in, I'm gonna bring him in. But it doesn't, other than just giving us this little exposition of what we need to know about the hangups with Doctor Strange. Okay, bye. Um, so yeah, that's kind of they work on opposite ends of the spectrum of that. And so I think once you get over the hype of No Way Home and you go back and you look at it again, it's like, okay, all right, this is cool. It was good seeing them together, but let's move on and just start the next
Right.
trilogy. So yeah, I'm definitely the more I've pondered it, Doctor Strange, it's Shang Chi, Doctor Strange, and then everything else is just kind of there.
Yeah, and Eternals doesn't even like that's not even a blip on the Richter scale for me.
I'm
But
so disappointed in that movie. I am.
man,
I am. I wanted so much more for what they were trying to do, and just you can't do 10 characters, bro. You
no,
can't
you
do that.
can't.
You
You
can't
can't.
do that and give them equal screen. No, you can't do it. It was a mess.
No. But I also since we're on like where we think things are going um in the future, you brought up Quantum Mania quite a bit.
Brother.
And Quantum Mania brother, sorry. And I have and I've long held a theory about this because the placement of the movies, Quantum Mania, brother, and then Fantastic Four. Um, Earth,
So do we know Fantastic Four is coming right after that?
well, so AJ and I were talking offline
Okay.
about this. So
Okay.
this goes into the theory. The number one fan casting for Reed Richards was John Krasinski, right? So John Watts, who also directed the Spider-Man series, was supposed to direct Fantastic Four.
Hmm.
He stepped away earlier this week, and he will no longer be the director for Fantastic Four. AJ and I believe that to maybe like sweeten the pot for John Krasinski, they're like, hey, you could do something that hasn't been done before. You could also direct this film yourself. If you haven't watched the Quiet Place films, he's a pretty damn good director. Like Jim Halpert is like a damn good director too. Um, so I say that to say this. I think we got a little taste of Reed Richards. Like we want to show you Reed Richards, but I think our Reed Richards, and by our Reed Richards, I mean Earth 616, has been here the entire time. I think they're in the quantum verse.
Hmm. That's an interesting theory. Um, because with them carefully keeping out of the frame who owns Stark Tower now,
Hmm.
I think that could very well be the new owner. And yeah, I feel like that's a way that you can pull him in. Um,
Yeah.
that's a way he could be a plot device in Quantum Mania, brother. Um, so yeah, I'm with that theory. I think, I think that he's definitely been John Krasinski is more than a cameo. Like we know that he's
Right.
he's he's gonna be he's in the MCU now. Like yes, it's a fan cast, but we know he's going to be. Whereas everything else was kind of like, here's the fan service. Like I don't think Sir Patrick Stewart comes back as Charles Xavier. Whenever
No,
we set
no.
that up, it's gonna be James McAvoy. It's gonna be that was who played him in the
Yeah,
second
James
time.
McAvoy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's either gonna be James McAvoy or they bring in somebody new. But we got the fan service. We got Doctor X in the yellow hover chair with the X-Men theme. So everybody else you can see like, okay, they're not bringing them back except for probably Maria, but in a different role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of being given to her daughter, her on-screen daughter. So he's definitely the one that's like, he's here. He's here long term.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm with that theory. I support that theory. I'm gonna buy into that theory, and I'm going to pitch it to new rock stars so I can do a video for them.
Yeah. Marvel, don't be cowards.
Don't be cowards.
Give
Go ahead.
give Emily
Give them the
Blunt the
bag.
bag too.
Give them the
Give
bag.
her the bag.
Give
Bring
them.
the
Give them both the
family in.
bag. Bring them.
Give
Give
them
them
both
both.
the bag. Yeah.
Let's do it. Like
Let's
I'm
do it.
with it. I enjoy John Krasinski. I do.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to see him, and I understand why people were so happy. Like that, my showing was pretty small, but there were a lot of audible gasps
Mm,
and
yeah.
cheers when he came through. Everybody was like, "Whoa, yo!" Okay, so yeah, I'm all for making people happy if you can make it make sense.
You know what? I It's funny because I actually saw a still of that on Sunday,
Hmm.
and it wasn't even spoiled for me. I was like, I knew they were gonna do this. Because they name dropped the Illuminati in the trailer,
Hmm.
and Reed Richards is the he and Charles Xavier are the head of the Illuminati, so it's not far fetched that they would bring in Reed Richards.
Hmm.
The thing is like seeing just John Krasinski in that uniform. I was like, yeah, I knew you were gonna do it. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was cool seeing that. I won't lie, it was cool seeing that.
So I'm going to talk about that trailer with you because we were talking about it on Twitter earlier, and we
Oh
were
yeah,
talking about it on
shoot.
direct message. So I was trying to explain that if you weren't really paying attention to anything outside of just the trailers, it's very easy to go into this film and not realize that Wanda's the villain, which is why I
Mhm,
also appreciate the fact that they didn't. I kind of appreciate the fact that they didn't hold it too long, but I do. Part of me does kind of wish they did for the surprise
mhm,
factor for people. But I feel like they did have to toe that line because people who are hip and savvy are going to realize like, okay, yeah, we know this is about Wanda. Which all of the all of the memes about the movie being abbreviated MLM give it away. But I think if you just watch the trailers, it's very easy to not notice that or to feel like, oh, it's going to be bait and switch. Wanda's going to be in the beginning and there's going to be a bigger threat, which I feel like was
mhm.
always on the table um,
Right.
for Cathone, right? That kind of situation, or somebody who's been manipulating Wanda the whole time, just like we thought WandaVision. And so,
Yeah, y'all
uh,
still lied to us about Mephisto. Like y'all laid that on thick. But I digress. Yeah.
okay. So, with that being said, I feel like it was very easy to go into this thinking that. And that's
Mhm.
why, because everything about the trailer showed that, oh, it looks like they're going to be teaming up, and it was cut and misled. I'm also surprised that in the trailer, they showed a lot of shots from the end of the film,
Right.
a lot of shots. The
Right.
America Chavez jumping off of the throne, activating her power. Wanda like is the literal end of the film, like showing that in the trailer. All of that was like, whoa, okay. So it goes to show how trailers can be misleading if you're not,
Mhm.
especially if you're not in tune to it.
Yeah, I was shocked by how much they packed into that last trailer because I hopped on the timeline this morning. I was like, now that we're talking about it, there's really no way this movie can be spoiled for you because everything you needed to know is like right there in the trailer. Like
It's
they put
right there.
the yellow wheelchair in the trailer. Like that would have been such a cool reveal.
Yeah.
Say like keep some mystery to yourself, you know. But
We
yeah,
should
they
tell
put
him
it
the
all out there.
truth.
Right. But yeah, so I was about to say, so what are you looking forward to next with the MCU? I'm drawing a blank as to what the calendar looks like. Like, what
Thor's
do we get
next.
next?
Thor's
Thor's
next.
next.
Thor
Okay,
4.
which
It's Taika.
uh,
I'm with it. Anything he directs, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch it. Um, he's fun, so I am gonna watch it. I was kind of soft on it for a little bit,
mm,
and then I remember that it's him. So no matter how Thor out of all the Avengers of the original cast was the least interesting to me on his own.
yeah, yeah.
On his own. As part of the team, he works perfectly. Standalone films, I had to be dragged to watch Ragnarok. I enjoyed it. I was happy,
Mm.
but I had to be dragged to watch it because Thor 1 and Thor 2 just ain't do nothing for me. So it's it's um it's Thor 4 Love and Thunder. Um and then let's see what we got left. Because I know Quantumania is early 2023.
Yeah,
Um I feel like
what's
there's
the
something
next
this
Disney
fall.
Plus show?
It's gonna be Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel,
Miss
okay.
Marvel is
Kamala Khan,
next.
okay.
So we have, let's see, we just did Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, supposed to be She-Hulk, Secret
Mm.
Invasion, but that's gonna be Disney Plus, I think, is what they were saying.
Yeah, that's gotta be Disney Plus.
Okay, so we got Thor: Love and Thunder, Miss Marvel, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is supposed to be November 11th.
Look, I'm gonna say it now. I am avoiding that Black Panther
I'm very
movie
cold on Black Panther.
like the plague. It's no there's no way to make that story happen. I'm sorry. There's a huge elephant in the room that there's no good way to address. I'm sorry. And I just like and I'm not of the mind that, you know, like much in the Heath Ledger way, like a character basically belongs to a certain actor. Like I'm like there are several different ways to play that kind of characters, but it's super hard for me to separate T'Challa from Chadwick because like I don't think people remember before this film Black Panther was relatively like a minor character, but he elevated this character to like basically an iconic level that we didn't expect. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be hard for me to separate him from that character and separate his portrayal of this character from the world. Like I don't think I could do that.
I don't think I can either. And no matter what you do, his death is going to be shoehorned. It's not gonna feel natural. And we
Right.
know why they have to do it because yeah, I mean, I agree. You don't recast. You don't recast.
No, you
I
don't
you
recast.
don't. You move on. You find a worthy successor, which they were really going to be in trouble with Shuri's actor not wanting to get the vaccine. They were really going to be in trouble because it's like, what do you do in Baku until you can? I feel like one of the theories that I saw out there was that they're going to say that in the time skip, T'Challa and what's her name had a son or had a child, and in time that's a way that you can introduce a new Black Panther. Because technically that would be when did Endgame technically or when did Infinity War technically happen in 2017?
Yeah.
So you could technically say that that happened, and then you bring up I don't know. I'm like we don't have enough time. I think we're only in 2024 in universe, so that child is 7. So there's nothing you can really do there. um, but yeah, okay. So I found the full order just to so Thor: Love and Thunder is July 8th. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is November 11th. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania Brother is February 17th of 2023. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is May next year, and then the Marvels will be July 28th, 2023. And then on a couple different sites, Fantastic Four is listed as TBA, but it's the next in line.
Yeah, just to get John Krasinski's name on the paperwork. That's the hold up. Yeah. Like I'm sticking to that. Like
I
it's going to be
the more I
revealed
see
in a
it, the
few
more I go
weeks.
with
Yeah, it's
the
going to be revealed in a few weeks that he's the director.
I'm with you on that. And if we see that, then I'm really tying in the Ant-Man theory that you and AJ hit
Hmm.
on. So
Hmm.
yeah, I see it. I see the vision. Pun not intended.
Yeah. Point out it's in it. But yeah, so yeah, I think this is a natural place to wrap up. But as usual, I think this was a good conversation. I know discussing these Marvel films can be quite divisive at times, but we just like to talk about them. And if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. I'm not going all Marty Scorsese and saying it's not real cinema, but I mean they do have a
Please.
place. Yeah, I know they do have a place in
Scorsese.
our society. Yeah. Hey,
Do it in the
let's
playoffs.
relax. He's the goat now. But yeah, so yeah, we'll stop here. Let us know what you think. If you've watched this, let us know what you think about the future of the MCU. How do you feel about the current state of things? In context with Shang-Chi and the Eternals. Yeah, just let us know. And so let me plug your most recent post, Ryan. You recently dropped a post about Moon Knight, which is very it's very compelling,
Controversial.
and it's I'm gonna start Moon Knight because of your post. So
Do it.
yeah,
Do it. I'm telling you.
read read
I'm
Ryan's
going to
post if you're on the fence.
I'm going to tell you. So kidswearcrowns.com, as Ron was alluding to. You can see it up there. It's like one of the first posts up there. It's actually pretty good. And it stands on alone on its own. I will tell you, and it is intentional when you watch it. The first episode is slow, but as you watch the second and third episode, you'll see why it was slow. So keep that in mind. It is done intentionally. And I enjoy payoffs without it being cheap. Give me a payoff for what you've put me through. And it gives you a payoff. It gives
All
you a payoff.
right.
It does.
Damn it, you convinced me to watch Moon Knight, and I told myself I would have. But that's how great of a post it is. So, matter of fact, if you're listening to this, if you're watching, I'll drop it in the description so you could go check that out. But yeah, D and I are still doing Under the Banner of Heaven, and Court and I will pick up the Obi-Wan show later this month. So yeah, we got plenty things coming. Stay tuned. Ryan, any final words?
No, if you want to do some Moon Knight recaps after you watch it, let me know. We can do that. Um,
Retroactively do Moon
retroactively
Knight.
do it. I am. I know I've been saying I'm going to restart my podcast, which I am, but my house is pretty full right now. We're planning on moving this summer, so if all of that comes into fruition and I'm able to create a space where I can record again, then I will start doing that again. But there's a lot happening here. There's a lot of people in this house, so um, so once I kind of get some space, I will be back. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, man, the streets miss you, man. Mama Cindy asking for Ryan, asking for Well, she sees AJ on occasion, but she's like,
Mm.
"Where's Ryan?" So yeah, anytime we can have you back is certainly a good time. But yeah, that's where we'll stop here. But as usual, like, comment, buy a T-shirt if you feel up to it. Until next time, peace.